So, as with a lot of people, whenever it comes this time of year, I start to get very self reflexive and more than a little bit melancholic. Now, partially that's just because my birthday's at the end of the year, but you also have New Year's and Christmas, and my grandfather, who is probably the single biggest influence on my life of anyone other than my parents, and who I was extremely close to, died, I think it was 16 or 17 years ago, a couple days before Christmas. And I always called him Papa, and we were very close. And a lot of the happiest memories of my childhood were going on adventures with him, going fishing, that sort of thing. But like I said, it's a time of year when I start to reflect a lot on decisions I've made, things I've done, things I couldn't have done, the road not traveled, that sort of thing. And one of the things I always think about this time of year, and that's partially because of things like Millennial Yule and all the various Christmas crossovers and specials people have been doing, is how kind of my YouTube channel turned out, what I did, what I could have done differently. Because I do sometimes wonder if I had to put in like a lot more time, I had to have gotten really good at video editing, done a lot more crossovers with people, get more involved with the community, how much bigger I could have gotten as a channel. And maybe I wouldn't have gotten any bigger. Maybe I'd be at 30, 40, 50,000 people and be making decent money off of this. I mean, I don't know. That might sound fanciful, but weirder things have happened. And there's a couple reasons why that never really played out. I think, firstly, I've always viewed this as being a hobby. Granted, it's probably my main hobby. It's something I like to put time into. I've met a lot of great people through this, many of whom are IRL friends for me now. But my focus has always been on having a professional career, getting experience, doing education. I'm doing my master's at the moment, that sort of thing. And that's where I put the majority of my energy into. Because I'm someone who's very conservative with my money and my lifestyle. So having a regular paycheck, I can budget it pretty easily, and I can save and invest a lot of money. And I mean, who knows, with YouTube, some people will have a video that'll go viral and they might make $5,000-$6,000 over a video that gets like 1 million views, but that might be the only success they ever have. Or maybe they'll be like Sargon or someone and they'll make hundreds of thousands of dollars for a couple of years, but in the process they'll burn all their bridges IRL. They don't really have marketable skills per se, and no one will hire them or touch them because of the drama and shenanigans they've got themselves involved with. So I think at a base level, that's part of the reason why I never really got into doing a lot of video editing and stuff. Part of that is honestly, and this might be a cope, I just got tired of the few times I tried doing that, constantly getting videos taken down for copyright. It just got really frustrating, and to try to figure out like all the shit you'd have to do to be able to do edited content, I just didn't really have the time or energy for it. But if I had to put all my effort into it, I probably could have become good at it. And like I said, maybe have a bigger viewer base, maybe be at 20, 30, 40,000 subscribers. I guess another thing I didn't do, and I did this a little bit, was I didn't really network much. Now, admittedly, a lot of that is just purely my fault, because I have severe social anxiety. I'm not going to pretend I don't. I find it hard to reach out to people I don't already know. I find it hard to ask people for favors, that sort of thing. So when I would see people online, people who maybe would only have 1,000 more subs than me, or even less, but people I kind of looked up to, I find it very hard to kind of reach out and talk to them and get them to go on. And part of that was also just my work schedule. For most of the time I've had my channel, I've been at jobs where I put in a lot of hours, and I also have like a 3-hour commute. So that sort of thing is more difficult. And I mean, I always have people say, oh, I saw you on X person's channel. I remember when you were on the Distributus like 4 years ago. And it does make me wonder, maybe if I did more of those, I'd have more people who kind of came over from that. And once again, I'm not blaming anybody. It's my fault, and it's just kind of, it's partially my fault. It's partially life experiences. It's partially I just got kind of scared of doing collabs, because I think people who are maybe newer to the scene don't really understand this, but back in the day, TRS, Millennial Woes, all these other dissident right people, most of them, their identities were at least somewhat secret. Even if they showed their faces, most of their personal details, like their names, their addresses, that sort of thing, was held back. They weren't doxxed as of yet. And I would always be able to say, okay, I'm not that worried about getting doxxed because the TRS guys haven't gotten doxxed. Millennial Woes hasn't gotten doxxed. All these other people who stir up more shit and are much bigger targets haven't been doxxed. So I'm kind of in the clear. But then once Doxgate started and just everything went crazy and people started snaking on each other and stuff like that, I just became very hesitant to try to grow at least faster than what I was at the time. Because like I said, it would involve doing a lot more collabs with people who are on a regular basis getting doxxed or shut down or kicked off of YouTube. And I was very hesitant to get involved with that. And I did have a viewer base. I have people I like to talk to here and on my Discord server. And I'd rather just keep that and keep it at the level where I am at the moment than get shut down or get on like an Antifa list or something like that. So I think at that point I kind of decided on that. The other thing that happened was I kind of came to the attention of the internet drama community. So I made a bunch of videos on Yandere Dev just mocking him. And he just went ape shit and paid people on his Discord server to mass report me. And I got 2 strikes and I almost had my channel taken down. And that involved me talking to YouTube and all this other nonsense behind the scenes. So once again, that kind of made me nervous. And it's something I was always unsure about. Do I want a lot of growth? Do I want to have thousands of views per video? It would be nice from an advertising standpoint. It would be nice from an ego standpoint. But if you get a bigger audience, that means it's more likely to dox you or people file things on you and get you taken down. Also, over time in the sphere, I found a lot of people, partially just because of money, came to certain compromises that I just couldn't. If you may have noticed, a lot of people over the years I've initially been fans with or on good terms with, I admit, and this is partially my fault, it's partially bipolar, as when I'm manic, I'll often act very aggressive and just shit on people and do things I regret. But in a lot of cases, it was also, I felt people sold out on very fundamental principles. I became more Christian over time, and I found a lot of the people were insufficiently Christian or were hostile to it. And that and their poor OPSEC and all that stuff, I just didn't want anything to do with them. So there's a couple of people who I'd say I'm friends with or I know fairly well and who I don't think are snakes and aren't going to screw with me. So go on theirs, but a lot of the bigger people have either been banned or otherwise are just kind of gone. And I've kind of accepted I'm never going to be one of those big YouTubers. And I'm kind of okay with that. I would like before, whenever I get kicked off of YouTube, to have 10,000 subs. And if that happened, then I'd be really happy. But I do think I am proud of myself because, I don't know, I have 9,000 subs. I get like 500 to 1,000 views on a video. That's small compared to a lot of things, but there are a lot of people who don't get any views, who put out edited content on a daily, weekly basis and have like 3 subscribers and like 5 views per video. I do have an audience, even if it's relatively small, even if it's not really growing, and I'm kind of happy with that. I think I just have to be happy with that and not worry about too much what might have been. I'm not in legal trouble. I don't have Antifa coming after me. I don't have a massive public beef with people. I've shit on some people, but I haven't like ran ops against them or anything like that. And I just kind of do what I want to do. If I want to do anime reviews or political videos or whatever, I kind of have the freedom to do that. And it's not the source of my livelihood or my living. So if I don't get many views per video, it doesn't really matter. The apocalypse was kind of sad because CPMs used to be a lot higher. But once again, it's just kind of the reality of the situation. I think, though, ultimately the thing that has made it completely worthwhile, and this is what I tell myself, and I understand that it's grace that converts people, but I've had a number of people talk to me over the years and said, Argent, because of your videos on faith or the things you've talked about, I've gotten baptized, or I started going to church, or I became Catholic, or I became some other type of Christian, or something like that. And I mean, in that case, we're talking about the ultimate fate of people's souls. We're talking about salvation. We're talking about the most important things possible. And if I played a major role in saving even one person's soul, then I think that makes all the time and hours I put in worthwhile. Because that is doing God's work, maybe in an autistic, goofy way, but I think that is worthwhile. And if I ever think I wasted my time, or I could have been more, or I could have done more, I helped to save somebody's soul. I was the means by which, or part of the means by which God, grace converted somebody. And if nothing else, that's a reason to keep going. I don't pretend to be a pastor. I don't pretend to be a theologian. I'm just a guy whose life was transformed by faith in Christ, and who wants to share that with people. And as much as possible, really wants them to seek out salvation as well. What's the expression? If you're in love, you want to tell the world about it. I really want to share my love of Christ with other people. So I think that's kind of where I'm at. Once again, should I be doing more crossovers or something? Maybe, but once again, I work pretty long hours at my job. I have a long commute. I'm living with my parents at the moment, which makes it a little hard to kind of record too much stuff. So, I mean, the circumstances aren't the best, but I have a career. Since I'm living with my parents, I'm able to save and invest most of my paycheck for the future. And who knows, maybe someday in a couple years, I'll be able to put a whole bunch of money down on an apartment or a house or something and not have much of a mortgage. And so I guess there's the road not taken, but whatever my personal faults, I do think I've made some good decisions. And I do think I have helped some people through my religion videos or my mental health videos, or maybe people just to find a movie that they enjoy or a video game they enjoy, or take a look at something or a character and go, you know what, I appreciate that a bit more. And maybe it's hokey and cheesy, but life is hokey and cheesy sometimes. So I guess that's how I feel about it on this Christmas. Life is kind of bittersweet, and you have to try to find things. I think the most important part, and I know people don't like Dennis Prager, but as he likes to say, the most important part of happiness is gratitude. And as much as possible, I do try to find things that I'm grateful for. Even if I am grumpy, even if I have low self-esteem and always worry I could have done something better, I do try to find those things in life that are blessings, either from my parents or other people or from God, and be grateful I had those experiences and that I learned from them and that I grew as a person from them. And I don't know. Hopefully people found that interesting. I've just been worrying about that, and I just kind of wanted to get that off of my chest. Oh, I don't pretend to have all the answers or even all the questions. As I said at the beginning, I always try to be real with you guys. This is as much about me trying to figure out life, figure out God, figure out how to interact with the world as any of you. And I like having these discussions, and a lot of stuff you people have said to me over the years have changed me a lot. And I do think the whole experience, even if there's been some drama and some bullshit, has made me a better person. If nothing else, I think I've become a much better speaker, and I've become somewhat more comfortable with people because of this circumstances. So, thank you everybody. God bless. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.